Well, hi there. My name is Jan, and this is part of a 100 Days for Kids campaign by Save the Children. And this is called The Subway Mouse. And this book was written by Barbara Reid. It's published by Scholastic. And let's see if there's someone who did the pictures. Well, it looks like this was all Barbara Reid. Okay, here we go. Can everybody see what's going on here? The Subway Mouse by Barbara Reid, Scholastic Canada Limited. Nib was a subway mouse. He was born into a large family that lived below the platforms in a busy subway station. The mice called their home Sweetfall. It's quite a place to live. While the trains thundered overhead, the grown-up mice gathered food. When the trains rested, they came home to their nests. In the quiet, the old mice told stories about the tunnel's end, a dangerous, ruthless world filled with mouse-eating monsters. But Tunnel's End was also beautiful. The air was sweet. A brave mouse could find the tastiest foods, the softest nests. Story time was Nib's favorite time of the day. When he grew up big enough to hunt for food, Nib explored the station floor. He found strange things, beautiful things, and things that reminded him of his favorite stories. He started to bring these things home. Your garbage is crowding our babies, the mothers complained. Your babies are nibbling my stuff, Nib answered. Then he had an idea. One night, Nib came home to a mess. Nice place, said his cousin Carmel. We fixed it up, added Ripper. Got anything to eat? Asked Pit. They stayed all night. Pit snored. The coming rumble of the morning rain woke the cousins. They scratched, stretched, and scampered off. See you later, Nib, said Carmel. We'll bring Stinky and crumbs tonight. Goodbye, he trotted past his cousins. You can have my nest. I'm going to Tunnel's End. You'll starve, said Pit. You'll be gobbled up, said Ripper. Carmel sniffed. Tunnel's End? That's just an old mouse tale. The next train drowned out their laughter. Nib counted 5 trains before he looked back. He had never been this far from home. Whoops. The tunnel stretched on. Nib curled into a crack to sleep. He woke up stiff and sore. Jogging along, he tried not to think about food. Up ahead, the tunnel brightened. Nib started to run. Tunnel's End! Reaching the light, Nib blinked. Was he back home? Who are you? Nib jumped. It was a strange mouse. My name is Nib. He pointed behind him. I came from Sweetfall. Never heard of it, said the strange mouse. I'm Lola. This is Sugardrop. Nib pointed ahead. I'm going to Tunnel's End. Pooh, said Lola. That's just an old mouse tale. Well, said Nib, at least you've heard of it. A train came and went. Maybe I should come with you, Lola said. Maybe you should, said Nib, and started down the track. Hold it. Lola caught a wrapper in midair. No point traveling on an empty stomach. They licked the paper clean. Together they passed out of Sugardrop into the next tunnel. Many trains later, the mice reached another station. Nib saw a jelly bean and pounced. Drop it! A big mouse blocked their path. 2 others stepped out from behind him. Run! Lola squeaked. Dodging and darting, they ran the length of the station. With the gang snapping at their tails, they were far into the next tunnel before the cries of "Stop thief!" died out. Nib still had the jelly bean, but now there was no turning back. The tunnel went on and on and on. There were many stations. There was not much to eat, and they plodded along another unending curve. The last train roared past. There was no sign of a station. Lola stopped. Oops, I'm missing a page. There it is. I'm worn thin. I'm hungry and thirsty, and I need a rest and a nest. I quit. There's nothing here, said Nib. We have to go on. I won't, said Lola. Look, I'm making a nest. She plucked a feather from under the rail. Nib knew it at once. That's mine. He grabbed for it. Finders keepers, said Lola. She sat on it. A tiny far-off note echoed through the tunnel. Nib's fur stood on end. What was that? Lola's eyes grew large. Again they heard the small musical chirp. They started toward the sound. As they rounded the corner, a light breeze brushed their whiskers. Sighed Lola, sweet. More voices joined the song. The tunnel widened to a soft light. Tunnel's end, breathed Nib. Come on! Lola dove into the forest of wet grass. Nib chased after her. The mice raced to the hilltop where they feasted on seeds, drank the dew, and danced in the moonlight. They slept right through the morning trains. Tunnel's End was more dangerous than Nib had imagined. It was also more beautiful than he dreamed. Wow. Whoops, one more page to go. Lola made herself at home. Later, as she tucked their mouse children into a snug nest, Nib told them stories. It was their favorite time of day. The subway mouse.